friends, Kim from Stamping Imperfection. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have to say, I got a new package from Maker Forte a couple of days ago, and when I opened it up and saw this stamp set, I gasped. I could not believe how beautiful this is. This is the Fabulous Flora Background, and isn't this gorgeous? Like, I think this is stunning. Maker Forte has this white rubber that they've been making their background stamps on, and I just couldn't believe how beautiful this was when I saw this. They actually make their own white rubber stamps right at their facilities in Florida. And this particular one comes with a set of sentiments at the bottom. You can stamp them all at once. And from the looks of those little squares, which are probably registration marks, there has to be a die coming soon that will cut all of those sentiments apart all at one time. So I'm excited for that because I always think that is such a time saver. And then you can make a whole bunch of sentiments and die cut them apart and have them all ready to go when you're ready. I'm not going to use the sentiments today, though. There are a lot of sentiments there, but I just want to use this floral stamp. I've been making a lot of videos the last month or so about all the things you can do with background stamps, and I have one thought in mind with what I want to do with this. So I pulled out some inks. I got the new Icy Mist ink pad, and this one I haven't even swatched yet, so I'm just going to dab it onto a piece of paper so you can see. It's this really pretty gray blue color. It's so pretty. Like when I first stamped it, I love that color. So I decided that I would pull out the bubblegum pink because that blue feels like kind of a gray blue, and I feel that way about bubblegum. It feels like it has a little bit of gray. I pulled out the Hyde Park yellow and the Cotswold green, which I think is a gorgeous yellowish green. So I'm going to play with these four colors, and all I want to do is I just want to ink up directly and just do it really quickly. So I pulled out the Cotswold green and I went over some of the leaves, and then I pulled out the bubble gum. I should have started obviously with the lighter colors because I am getting transfer from the green is getting on my ink pad. I'm not too worried about it. I'll stamp it a few times and it will come off. And if it doesn't come off, I'll pull a rag out and gently wipe the top of my ink pad until I remove the ink. So I don't worry about that. But definitely, if you don't want your ink colors to transfer from one ink pad to another, which you don't, put a piece of paper down between colors. So like stamp the green, put a piece of paper over the green, and then stamp the next color so that you're not getting that transfer. So I stamped some in Hyde Park, and then I stamped that Ivy Mist on that big bloom. And again, I got a little bit of green in the blue, and I just stamped it off, and I will clean that up a little bit later. And I love what this looks like so far. I did take a little blender brush and just try to get a couple of the lines between a few of the colors and sort of dab on them to blend where the two colors are on. Like the butterfly, butterflies are yellow and pink, so I just kind of want to dab the line between those two. If you have a small finger dauber, those work really well for that. I don't happen to have one of those with me, so I'm just using one of my blender brushes, but the small finger daubers work much better, or even a small sponge. If you have stamping sponges, those work really well to blot out the line. So I just put a piece of paper, this is cardstock, I put it directly on there, just rubbed the back, and I love the way this looks. I think this is such a beautiful stamp set. I can't believe it. It's got such a vintage feel, and I love big, bold floral images. Those butterflies are amazing. I'm just really excited about this. And I love the look that I got doing it this way because it almost feels a little bit vintagey to me. So I decided I would just trim the whole thing right down, and just trim away the edges there. I've got a little bit of ink along the edges, which I don't even mind. I almost feel like maybe I should pull out some other stamps or some other mediums and just make a real mixed media project out of this. But I just kind of want to, a little part of me wants to frame this because I love the way this looks. I love this color combination. I love the fact that it's not perfectly stamped because it just has a, I don't know, a very homey feel to me. So I decided that I wanted to take the icy mist color and dab the edges. So I'm just like dabbing the edges of my piece of cardstock there on top of the ink pad, and it's putting a little blue along the edges. And I like to do that because it helps the edge of that piece stand out from whatever is below it. So it's one of my new favorite things to do. You know how you go in phases with things. This is one of mine. So I tried to actually get it to along the edges, not just stay along the edges, but to have a little bit like fall over into the picture. So again, I decided I would stamp off some more. And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, oh, I've got to use this background piece or something. So you know I'm saving that one. So I did try a few different colors behind this, and I decided I really wanted to go with the Eclipse black cardstock. So I just put the card panel on the top of this and just sort of eyeballed the where I wanted to trim down the black. And I'm going to put this black layer behind it. I like the bold look of the black with those soft, imperfect colors, imperfectly stamped colors. Like there's a lot of white space in there, and I like the bold black, which now you can't see it all with my black mat, so I'll pull out a white piece of cardstock. But I'm really liking this, and I don't even want to put a sentiment on this. I do want to put some embellishments on it, so I'm going to pull out some crown jewel gems. I did get a new color of crown jewel gems this week. I think it's called Cotswold green, and I definitely want to put like a light pink crown jewel gem on there as well. So I will pull out my stash, and I'm actually using a tape runner here because I want to be able to move this, like take it off that black cardstock and move it if I don't get it perfectly straight, because I really like this. And I'm finding with liquid glue, it doesn't give me as much wiggle room as I would like. So I love the way it looks on the black, and I'm not even sure what size this is, but I know that I'm not going to get a card base out of this with a regular piece of cardstock. But not to worry, I definitely want to put white behind it. So I went and grabbed a piece of white 12 by 12 inch cardstock that I have on hand for scrapbooking, because as I'm measuring this, I'm really realizing that this is 5 3/4 inches square. So I cut down a piece of 12 by 12 paper to 6 by 12, and I went ahead and scored it at 6 inches. So my final card here will be 6 by 6. But I definitely think I might just run up to the store tomorrow and get a 6 by 6 frame, because they have some really inexpensive 6 by 6 frames, and I think I might hang this on my wall because I find this stamp very inspiring. Like, this makes me so happy. If I could find wallpaper that looked exactly like this, I would hang it up. And I know that's kind of crazy, but this stamp made me really happy. When I was a kid, my father put some paneling up in my bedroom that was all big graphic floral images. And ever since he did that, I've always liked big graphic florals. And I love this. I just love this. I just thought it was the most beautiful stamp I've ever seen. And I definitely want to pull out some, for some reason, I want to add a lot of texture to this. I'm thinking tomorrow I'm going to play with this with some gesso and maybe some colorful pastes and see what I can do with it, because it's beautiful. So I'm going to put the links to the few things that I have used here below, because this was actually a pretty simple project, but sometimes simple is the best thing to do. So I pulled out some rhubarb colored crown jewel gems and the Cotswold green crown jewel gems, and I kind of threw a whole bunch of them on my card and put a bunch of them on, and then I edited. So I poured them on. I started by putting a few, and then I just poured the whole thing on, see, and let them scatter, and then I started spreading them around, and then I added some of the Cotswold green with the rhubarb and had way too many crown jewel gems on. I wanted a few, not the whole page filled. So then I went ahead and edited, and I think I only had like 5 or 6 in the end. And actually that looks like 7, and I was happy with that. And I'm not going to put a sentiment. I'm not going to do anything like that. And I'm going to leave that as it is. So I would love it if you give this video a thumbs up and leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Do you like this stamp as much as I did? And what do you think of the colors? And if you aren't subscribed, I would love to have you subscribe and click the bell to get notifications every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, friends. Have a wonderful day.